At some point, you reached a tipping point. You started looking at videos just like this one and got more information on ADD. Maybe you did this secretly, not wanting to acknowledge to anyone else that you were looking into it, just getting some more information. Proceeding to actually calling someone for help, know it or not, you thought about the stigma connected with ADD. Would you like to know some ways of overcoming that stigma? Let's think of all of the adjectives one can use to describe our sense of people with ADD. Are they rude, unreliable, immature, weak in character, emotionally dysfunctional? To take from the title of a book, lazy, crazy, or stupid. All of these oftentimes get applied to people with ADD. The first point is establish your own understanding of ADD. And part of that is realizing that you too have stigmas about what ADD is. One of the things I suggest you do, and I'd love you to share that in the comments if you're already treated for ADD, is write down an ADD person is, and then just fill in the blanks for yourself. If you can write in the comments, what was your biggest stigma around getting treated for ADD in the comments, this would be really helpful for other people. And I'd appreciate it too. I make every effort to respond to all of the comments, but get squared away with your own understanding of what ADD is and your own stigmas around it. The fact is, an ADD brain is a differently wired brain. It functions differently. It thinks differently. It's a busy, busy brain that is just going all the time. The negative misunderstandings on people with ADD come out of misinformation. One of the things as a provider, I find that information is really hard to come by. It is really hard to get educated in the nuances of ADD. It is not readily available, but it winds up being unraveling a number of myths around it. Myths like, for starters, it isn't real. I've had numbers of clients tell me their primary care provider said, no, ADD isn't a real thing. It's unraveling myths like that. Myths like it only affects children and disappears when you become an adult, or it only affects boys, or it just isn't as severe with women or children. It's a result of bad parenting. Yes, that one gets thrown out there a whole bunch. People who use medication are either over medicating or they're abusing this medication, looking for the high. Well, if you truly are ADD, it's going to do nothing for you being anyway elevated. It's going to allow you to regulate focus, but there is no high if a person truly is ADD. It is helpful to get a number of resources where people in your life can get good information. I really like the book Delivered from Distraction. It is a really good overview to ADD. If you are ADD and you're at that investigational stage, I suspect that if it fits for you as a diagnosis, there are parts of that book that are going to jump off the page at you. Of course, now there's also a huge stigma in taking medications. It often says to people, oh my goodness, I'm so bad that my brain works so poorly that I have to take a medication to correct this. Bottom line is medications are helpful. They're helpful for a person regulating focus. When we look at potentially treating a child, that stigma comes to a head when they have to go to the school nurse to take a medication. No one likes to be pointed out as different when you're a kid. And fortunately, there are some long-acting medications that a child doesn't really have to stand out as different. Now, we tend to open the suitcase of the baggage of ADD once we get treated. It is really fairly common to do the what if game. What if I had gotten myself treated much earlier? This is not something that really is helpful for you to do, but oftentimes dealing with that stigma that we internalize about ADD is really doing our own work. Find yourself a therapist who is familiar with ADD. Start confronting some of those things that are nagging things that really make up your self-esteem. That goes a long way to you feeling more comfortable in your own skin with having ADD. So if this has been a helpful presentation, I would really like you to thump that like button. I really appreciate the comments, and so do other people who follow this channel. So please make a comment. I really would like to know what was the stigma you experienced that was the biggest barrier for you getting treatment for your own ADD. Or what's the stigma you're experiencing now that's keeping you from moving there? Until next week, thanks for spending this time with me. Take care.